Welcome back. Television programs fictionalize medical emergencies every week. But what doctors saw in the emergency room in Jacksonville, Florida, was not fiction. It was real, shockingly real. April 12, 1998. 41-year-old Michael Hill was rushed into University Memorial Hospital. A video crew for the Learning Channel's drama series, Trauma: Life in the ER, happened to be taping that night. Doctors were told to receive a man with a severe head injury. They expected a gunshot or even a bludgeoning. What they got shocked even hardcore ER veterans.
All right, we got a knife in the head.
What you are seeing is not a recreation or a special effect. It's 100% real. A massive survivalist knife with a 7-inch long serrated blade rammed up to the handle into Michael Hill's skull. Dr. Shauna Perry was the attending ER physician.
When Michael arrived, he actually had a large knife handle that you could see as soon as he came around the corner. When you look at the faces of my staff, you can see that they are shocked. Not paralyzed, but just momentarily, woo.
Wiggle your toes.
From what we could tell, he had no other injuries except for one large knife. He had a blood pressure and a pulse that appeared normal, despite his injury. Michael did make a move to grab hold of the knife handle. My suspicion is that at that point, he may have started to feel some pain. All of us had concerns about the serrated edge, because as you know, from using a serrated knife to cut fruit and vegetables, that edge has a grating type component to it. It doesn't cut smoothly. It tears whatever the food product is that you're cutting. The object that was being cut by the serrated knife was this gentleman's brain, and that removal of that would cause significant damage to his brain tissue, and that a lot of damage might have been done when the knife went in.
The CAT scan reveals the shocking truth.
I suspected this was a long knife. I didn't realize that it was as long as it was, and I had deep concerns that the structures of the brain that are lower in the skull may have been damaged. Judging by the CT scan, I anticipate that if Mr. Hill had that knife move an inch, half an inch in any direction, forward or to either side, more than likely Mr. Hill would have died. And frankly, I had some thoughts at that time when I saw his CT scan that he wouldn't make it.
The events of earlier in the evening are sketchy. We know that stabbing victim Michael Hill was visiting his brother-in-law. There came a knock at the door. When Michael opened it, a neighbor rammed the survivalist knife directly into his skull. The motive unknown. But one thing was certain. If surgeons didn't remove the knife immediately, Michael Hill would die.
I can't deal with it right now. I have got a guy with a knife sticking out of his head.
Even though the surgery involved the most delicate organ in the human body, the plan was deceptively simple.
Take it, just pull it out, slowly.
The video crew captures every moment of the drama as Michael's head is shaved and sterilized. With no time to waste, neurosurgeon Dr. Carlos Arce makes the first incision.
The bone was holding the knife in place, and we had to take the bony pieces from around the knife in order to be able to have a chance at getting to the brain and therefore to be able to extract the knife.
Michael's vital signs are stable as Dr. Arce nears the most critical phase of the operation. He must gingerly move the knife handle to see if it's loose. This is it. He's got it. The knife has been removed, and at the same time, an amazing medical record set. The largest foreign object removed successfully from a human brain. Michael survived the surgery, but unknown is the level of permanent brain damage he might suffer.
That's Mr. Hill. Wow, same guy.
The very next day, Dr. Perry was amazed to find Michael up and around. Miraculously, he was functioning on his own. The damage to his brain was minimal.
Do you remember anything that happened when you came to the hospital? Do you remember any of that?
Not really.
From seeing Michael after his accident, it seems like he had damage to the frontal portions of his brain that control short-term memory. He remembers his address, phone number, that kind of a thing. But if you tell him something now and ask him to tell you it back in 5 minutes, he's not able to hold on to that information, and he loses it very quickly.
Just 1 week after he was rushed to the hospital with a 7-inch knife blade in his brain, Michael Hill prepares to go home.
Michael Hill's probably one of the luckiest people I've ever met in my entire life. The angle with which that knife passed through his skull and brain was probably the most optimal of any that he could have had.
Michael is still haunted by that night.
I remember I was at the hospital. The pain did not hit me until I felt like my eyes were trying to bush out of my head. I remember a tremendous headache. I remember throbbing, and I could feel stuff stuck down my throat, tubes in my arms. I don't know what happened after that.
Today, Michael is not without some physical after effects.
My left hand right now today is not in full use. There's no feeling in 1, 2, 3 fingers. But I realize that there are people in this world that are in worse shape than I am, and that I'm grateful for the condition that I'm in.
Since his close call with death, Michael says he has a newfound respect for life and now spends more time with his son.
I understand that this is the Guinness Book World Record. The record is the largest object ever removed from a human skull. Well, I want to encourage everyone that's watching this program, please don't try to top the record.
My thanks to everyone who helped us make tonight's show another record-breaking program.